Thanks for checking out my video. If you want to learn more from me, I have a lot of classes on Udemy. You can find the links to a lot of those in the description.
So I've had some ideas and some thoughts spinning around in my head for quite some time now, and this video is probably going to be a bit of a ramble, but hopefully it will get somewhere concrete. Probably knowing me, it will after a couple of minutes. But, I've always been a student of demonology and particularly exorcisms and banishments and different things like that. If you ever saw my experiences with Magick Part 1 or Part 2 videos, I do mention that I've done work along the lines of depossession and exorcism. That was actually my introduction into the fact that the world is more than just Upwork home TV bed material stuff and whatnot. By the way, if my cat comes over here, then, just getting her over here. She's feeling a little sick lately. So, anyways, if you guys see her sneeze and whatever, she's just got chronic respiratory issues. But anyways, so, I grew up in going to Catholic school and stuff like that. So, the whole thing about Catholicism and monotheism with Jesus and God and whatnot, even though it's technically a trinity and blah, 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 blah. And we can even step into how, I think I did make a video on how saint worship is technically the way that the Catholics kind of blended polytheism. But if you want me to talk more about that, definitely let me know in the comments. But anyways, so because I had the upbringing in like the Catholicism and stuff, I've always been fascinated by the way that they view the world and the way that they view particularly what they can kind of term as spiritual warfare. Now, I'm going to do a couple of shout outs to a couple of different things. A very interesting podcast if you're interested in demons and exorcism, things like that. The Exorcist Files, which actually has an exorcist, Father Carlos Martins, and his stuff is fascinating because to me, I think that, demonic possession and stuff is real because I've experienced it. But here's the thing that I've always had a hard time reconciling, right? Now, if demons are real, which you have tons of different exorcism cases and demonic possession cases, they've made movies and different things on it, like The Exorcism of Emily Rose and then the standard The Exorcist. The sequel was crap, by the way. Just throwing my 2 cents out there. And then Nefarious, which, by the way, Nefarious is the most accurate to any demonic possession kind of thing out there. It's not a lot of bells and whistles, but it sure as hell gets the point across. It's very, very, very on point. So how do you reconcile the idea that if, let's say, hypothetically, or in this case, the point I'm making, is that demonic possession is real, then how is Catholicism so effective with fighting against the demons and things like that? Because there is an efficacy to that if you buy into it and you actually do your research and stuff like that. Why are these spirits that possess people, why are they so scared of the power of God / Yeshua? His name was Yeshua. Jesus is a title, means anointed one. I could rant on that too. But, because you can go through all these different cycles of how was Jesus a real dude? Was he just a representative of the sun? And, his disciples were like the 12 zodiacs because the sun travels through the 12 zodiacs and blah, 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 blah. You can go through all of that. You can also go through how Jesus is another retelling of stuff like Dionysus and Osiris and Dumuzi and Tammuz and so many other ones. So if you have all of that, how do you reconcile the fact that doing banishments and exorcisms in the name of Jesus actually works? And then it should be in the title of Jesus because Jesus is a title. And that's your main clue right there. So if you look into, on Gaia TV is where I first originally heard of this guy, Freddie Silva, right? He's done a ton of archaeological research and whatnot into a lot of this stuff. So according to his research, Yeshua / Jesus, I'll probably, interchange them, whatever. Yeshua / Jesus was a member of an Essene group that were it's the cult of the Nazari. Now, you could say, oh, they call him, Jesus of Nazareth. Fun fact, Nazareth was not even populated really at the time when Jesus was around. It became populated after. Nazarite is a section of the Essenes, which is Jewish Gnostics, mystics, that practice, according to Freddie Silva, ancient Babylonian magic. And that's where we get into it. Because you know me, I love this Babylonian jazz. That's why this is primarily Babylonian / Assyrian / Mesopotamian. I have videos on that if you want to disagree with me. Try it in the comments. Or just check my past videos. You guys know I've ranted about that stuff. I totally trashed the guy's comment. And, thanks to that guy for inspiring a video. Anyways, so we know from the Bible that that's the biggest things that Jesus did was, he turned water into wine, blah, 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 at his own wedding, by the way. Because it never says who the wedding is for when he turned the water into wine and reproduced all that bread and stuff like that. Of course, it was his to Mary Magdalene. But, he exorcised 7 demons out of Mary Magdalene. So there's that. He did another exorcism where he took tons of demons out of this one guy and put them into the pigs, and then the pigs went crazy and ran off a cliff, right? And then even in Catholic, spiritual warfare, demonic lore stuff, where do demons go when they get exorcised? They go to a place that is barren, and there's nothing there for them to eat or drink. Well, that sounds a lot like the Babylonian exorcism, Bada Bada Edi Nazu, which means be gone, go to the desert. Can you find anything to eat or drink in the desert? Probably not. Hopefully I'm putting all these dots together. I feel like that meme of that guy standing at with the board with all the papers and the yarn and jazz. I should just start having that behind me. But I do like this tapestry anyway. So, Jesus was a part of the cult of the Nazarite, and he exorcised demons. He was called the Anointed One. And therefore, because he had the power to banish and exorcise demons because of his training and the different things that he did, then, of course, demons, or spirits, or what have you, are going to fear him because they would know that he would be able to overpower them and, depossess a person. Or you could cleanse a space, whatever. Stuff like that. So that's why he's one of those names of power. Now, there are plenty of other people, arguably, according to this whole thing. I'm probably going to end up making a book called the Unified Theory of Spirituality or something like that one day. Oh man, I have so many book ideas. Speaking of which, my second novel is done. I'm probably going to put the first chapter up on Patreon if you want to read it. But the names of power of Jesus and Thor and Odin and blah, 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 you can pull from any kind of spiritual path for this. These are all beings that have obtained a certain level of power that they can then influence other things to a great degree. In the Karo tradition, we call them either, I believe it's 5th or 6th level. You can kind of vary in between the two. There are people like 6th level is the infallible healer that can just heal someone with a touch. And Jesus is considered to be one of those. He actually escalated through the different levels. So there's several different examples of people at the 6th level. So that means that there are lots of people that are able to get to that did get to that level, Jesus, the Anointed One, being one of them. Now, you can go down the list of Dionysus, Bacchus, Osiris, Tammuz, Dumuzi. One of the biggest things that you find with them is they are anointed with oils and stuff in somewhere in their tails. Jesus means Anointed One. Look at that. Now, Jesus, I think, is tied by Freddie Silva with the term Egiza, and it's a transliteration from Egiza to Jesus at some point, and he also ties Egiza to Caesar. So basically, according to Freddie de Silva, there's a special rite that people in the Nazarite cult go through that's more of a death and rebirth rite, and then when you die and you touch the spirit realm, then you come back I would like to argue that you would have a certain power over that spirit realm, right? Because you were able to be there, not trapped in it, and come back. Inanna did the same thing. Tammuz did the same thing. Ishtar did the same thing. Dumuzi did the same thing. You have Osiris did the same thing. Horus, technically, I think, would fall into the same lines. Dionysus, Bacchus, da 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 da. And so, with exorcisms and stuff being the way that they are, that's the same reason why you don't just have Christian exorcisms actually working. There are plenty of other examples in various different cultures that do perform exorcisms, and they are effective, just like the Christian ones that we most commonly hear about. Jewish tradition was doing exorcisms before Christianity was a thing, and Babylonians were doing those same kinds of things. The Maklu text and the Surflu tablets, both of which are in Lamadudingir, are full of those kinds of things about banishing and eliminating demons. And they reference the 7 Afkalu demons that affect the 7 parts of the body, and they are about eliminating those demons because physical illnesses, mental illnesses, they were perceived and attributed to demons, and demons can mask as those things, and then they can actually show themselves to be more. And I could go into a whole different thing on exorcisms and whatnot, and demonic possession and all that stuff. Let me know if you want to see that kind of thing, by the way, because I would probably sit on my soapbox for that kind of stuff because it's fascinating. But where was I going with this? Where's part 2? I worked all day, so sorry if I'm a little frazzled. But kind of lost my train of thought there. Oof. The idea being that exorcisms were practiced through many different cultures and even before Jesus, and the fact that they can use certain god names and things like that that are as effective as Jesus denotes that it's not just Jesus being the almighty dude that can eliminate demons and stuff. Does it work? Yeah, right? But you have, like, in the Maklu tablets and the Surflu tablets, you have them calling on Marduk and Enki, and Shamash. So, you have the sun god, you have Enki, the god of water, and you have Marduk, the god of arguably Jupiter, and then at the top of the Babylonian pantheon, and invoking those names of power. Why? Because those kinds of beings reach the same level as Jesus. So, in my summation anyway. So, any kind of spiritual path that you're on, if you're invoking a name of power, then that presence, whether it's an archetype in the spiritual model, in the psychological model, or if it's an actual presence that you're calling in the spiritual model, whichever kind of angle you want to take it, brings in that extra oomph. So, I mean, if you're just doing psychological model, why are we talking about exorcism and banishing demons anyway? You might as well just open the DSM-4 or DSM-5. I'm old. It was the DSM-4 and DSM-4-TR when I was in school. But exorcisms do make sense in and across all these different cultures if you understand the underlying stuff behind what makes Jesus such a powerful dude. It arguably might not be because he was the son of God, because that's up for debate and blah, blah, blah. Drop the hate in the comments if you want to. I would like to argue that it's because of the level of spiritual heightness, or the spiritual level, arguably 5th or 6th, that he obtained that allowed him to kind of have dominion over those spirits. All right, that's enough on this one before I lose my train of thought again. Sorry about that little blip there. Anyways, if you want to learn more about this stuff and you want me to go on more about it, or any other topic, honestly, drop it in the comments. You can always shoot me an email. Find all my stuff in the link tree down below, including my books, my classes, my Magic for Hire, opportunities to work with me, and, if you wanted to do the gate walking, if you want to get yourself one of these, that kind of stuff, mentoring, all that jazz, link tree down below. I'll catch you guys next time. Good hunting.